Welcome to Quiz Time. I'm your Quizmaster, Sean, and I've got about 100 questions for you about American idiomatic expressions. So let's see what we know about how Americans talk, shall we? All right, let's give it a shot. What do we mean when we say someone performs a task with extreme efficiency and focus? What is the word for that? We would say they are going like a bat out of hell. What do we say when a solution is both simple and completely effective? Simple and completely effective. The phrase for that is, hits the nail on the head. What do we say when someone does something that can't be undone? What phrase do we have for that in America? The cat's out of the bag. What do we say when someone is extremely confident or bold? What's the American expression for that? We say, cocky as a rooster. What do we say when someone looks very displeased or angry? Americans say, sour as a pickle. What do we say when someone is forced to be humble or apologetic? Sometimes an American will say they ate humble pie. What do we say when it's raining very heavily? Americans will say, it's raining cats and dogs. What do we say when someone is extremely tired? The American ism for that is dead on their feet. What do we say when something is extremely easy to do? What's the American ism for that? Americans will say, it's a piece of cake. What do we say when someone is in a state of confusion or chaos? Well, Americans will say, at sixes and sevens. What do we say when someone is feeling melancholy or sad? Americans will often say, they got the blues. What do we say when dealing with a situation requires extreme caution? Like messing with a cat? Walking on eggshells. What do we say when someone talks a lot but doesn't say anything meaningful? What's the Americanism for that? Americans would say, all hat and no cattle. What do we say when someone is being punished or criticized severely? It could be said, they're being raked over the coals. What do we say when someone is extremely nervous or anxious? Oh, it is often said that they are sweating bullets. What do we say when someone performs a task with extreme efficiency and focus? We say they're going like a bat out of hell. What do we say when someone makes a big mistake? Americans often say they stepped in it. I won't tell you what it is. What do we say when something is extremely rare or unusual? Something that is extremely rare or unusual could be said to be once in a blue moon. What do we say when someone is involved in a difficult situation? If they're involved in a difficult situation, it is often said they're in a pickle. What do we say when we're extremely hungry? I can think of a few things offhand. But one of the things we could say would be, I could eat a horse. What do we say when someone is being overly dramatic? If someone is being overly dramatic, we might say, making a mountain out of a molehill. What do we say when someone is being excessively sentimental? If they're being excessively sentimental, we might say, you're wearing your heart on your sleeve. What do we say when someone looks very unwell? When someone looks very unwell, Americans might say they're looking a little green around the gills. What do we say when someone is extremely busy? Well, if they're extremely busy, an Americanism for that would be they're busy as a beaver. What do we say when someone is acting crazy or erratic? If they're acting crazy or erratic, we might say they're off their rocker. What do we say when someone is out of options or resources? If someone is out of options or resources, they're up a creek without a paddle. What do we say when someone is extremely smart? An American might say about such a person, they're sharp as a tack. What do we say when someone is very wealthy? What is an idiomatic expression in America for someone who is very wealthy? They might be rolling in dough. What do we say when someone is being indecisive? Well, we might say that they're waffling. What do we say when someone is extremely happy? If someone is extremely happy, we might say that they're tickled pink. What do we say when someone is being deceptive or dishonest? If someone is being deceptive or dishonest, Americans might say they're pulling your leg. What do we say when we're extremely cold? If we're extremely cold, it could be said that we're colder than a witch's kiss. I don't think that's the word. What do we say when someone talks too much? When someone talks too much, it can be said in America that they're running off at the mouth. What do we say when someone is not focusing or paying attention? If they're not focusing or paying attention, it might be said that they have their head in the clouds. What do we say when someone is extremely upset? When someone is extremely upset, it could be said about them, they're madder than a wet hen. What do we say when someone is being direct and honest? An American ism for that is calling a spade a spade. What do we say when we're extremely unlucky? An American expression for that is couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. What do we say when someone understands something completely? When someone understands something completely, an Americanism for that would be got it down pat. What do we say when someone is preparing for a difficult situation? When someone is preparing for a difficult situation, we might say, gird your loins, or they're girding their loins. What do we say when someone is extremely fast? If someone is extremely fast, Americans might say they're quick as a hiccup. What do we say when we're extremely old? What do you mean by extremely old, you might ask? We'll leave that to you. But someone who's extremely old might be said to be older than dirt. What do Americans say sometimes when someone is extremely slow? If they're extremely slow, that means they're slower than molasses in January. What do we say when someone is pretending to be innocent? What would an Americanism be for that? Well, they might say, butter wouldn't melt in their mouth. What do we say when a situation is chaotic and disorganized? A situation that is chaotic and disorganized. American might say, it's like herding cats. What do we say when someone is extremely naive? Well, we might say, it's like they were born yesterday. What do we say when two people are very close friends? We might say they're thick as thieves. What do we say when something is extremely loud? If something is extremely loud, an American might say, it's louder than a freight train. What do we say when someone is very shy? If someone is very shy, we might say, wouldn't say boo to a goose. What do we say when someone is extremely stingy? If someone is extremely stingy, we might say they're tighter than bark on a tree. What do we say when someone is very hot, temperature-wise? If someone is very hot, hotter than the hinges of hell, what do we say when someone is extremely drunk, inebriated? We might say they're 3 sheets to the wind. What do we say when someone is trying to avoid doing something? What's the American ism for that? If they're trying to avoid doing something, they're beating around the bush. What do we say when someone is extremely thirsty? If someone is extremely thirsty, we might say they're dry as a bone. What do we say when someone is extremely skilled at something? An American might say they're slicker than a greased pig. What do we say when something is extremely expensive? If something is extremely expensive, what they're saying is, it costs an arm and a leg. What do we say when someone is extremely curious? If someone is extremely curious, it might be said that they're nosy as all get out, or just plain nosy. What do we say when someone is extremely dirty? Oh, if someone gets extremely dirty, it might be said that they're filthy as a pig in the mud, or just filthy as a pig. What do we say when someone is very angry? Well, an American might say they're hopping mad. What do we say when someone is extremely stubborn. Well, if someone is extremely stubborn, an Americanism for that is stubborn as a mule. What do we say when someone is extremely happy and excited? We might say that they're happy as a clam. What do we say when someone is unsophisticated or provincial? Well, we might say that such a person is fresh off the turnip truck. What do we say when someone is looking for something that's right in front of them? If they're looking for something that's right in front of them, they can't see the forest for the trees. What do we say when someone is extremely skinny? If someone is extremely skinny, an American might say they're thin as a rail. What do we say when someone is extremely unpleasant? An American might say that such a person is meaner than a junkyard dog. What do we say when someone is extremely frightened? Well, we might say that such a person is scared out of their wits. What do we say when someone is extremely confused? What's the American idiomatic expression for that? Well, the expression for that doesn't know whether to scratch, watch, or wind butt. What do we say when someone is extremely tall? Well, someone is extremely tall. An idiomatic expression for that is tall as a giraffe's neck. What do we say when someone is extremely busy? An American might say they're running around like a chicken with his head cut off. What do we say when someone is very experienced? Well, an American might say, been around the block a few times. What do we say when someone is extremely clean? Well, we often say it's clean as a whistle. What do we say when someone is seeking revenge? Sometimes we will say they're out for blood. What do we say when you're extremely poor? The Americanism for that, one of them is, they're poor as a church mouse. What do we say when someone is extremely lazy? An American might say, useless as tits on a bull. What do we say when something is extremely simple? If something is extremely simple, an American might say it's easy as pie or easy peasy. What do we say when someone is extremely surprised? Well, we might say, knocked my socks off. What do we say when someone is very talkative? When someone is very talkative, an American expression for that is talking a blue streak. What do we say when someone is extremely quiet? Well, the Americanism for that is quiet as a church mouse. What do we say when someone is extremely brave? Well, one American expression for someone who is extremely brave is brave as a lion. What do we say when someone is deliberately annoying? But you'd never say that about someone who's practicing, right? That's not annoying. It means they're getting your gout. What do we say when someone is extremely lucky? If someone is extremely lucky, that means they've lucked out. What do we say when someone is extremely pale? An American expression for extremely pale is white as a sheet. What do we say when someone is extremely drunk? If someone is extremely drunk, we might say they're drunk as a skunk. What do we say when someone is very attractive? Well, an American might say that such a person is easy on the eyes. What do we say when someone is extremely foolish? We might say they're dumb as a box of rocks. What do we say when someone is talking nonsense? Oh, an American might say that someone is full of hot air, amongst other things. What do we say when someone is extremely honest? Well, an American might say they are straight as an arrow, or a straight shooter. What do we say when someone is extremely polite? If someone is extremely polite, an Americanism for that is proper as a preacher. What do we say when someone is extremely rude? Well, An American idiom for an extremely rude person is rude is all get out. What do we say when someone is extremely hardworking? If someone is extremely hardworking, an American might say of them, they're busy as a bee. What do we say when someone is extremely overworked? Like me, extremely overworked. Well, an Americanism for that would be worked to the bone. What do we say when someone is extremely talented? If someone is extremely talented, an American might describe them with the phrase, they're my ace in the hole. What do we say when someone is extremely unreliable? An American expression for such a person is flaky as a pie crust. What do we say when someone is extremely embarrassed? If someone is extremely embarrassed, an American might use the phrase, red as a beet. What do we say when someone is extremely insincere? An American expression for that is phony as a $3 bill. Because Americans don't have $3 bills. What do we say when someone is attempting something impossible? If someone is attempting the impossible, an American idiom would be trying to squeeze blood from a turnip. What do we say when someone is extremely worried? An American might say, worried sick. What do we say when someone is extremely useless? If someone is extremely useless, an American might say about them, about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. What do we say when someone is extremely rich? Well, if someone is extremely rich, one expression would be loaded to the gills. What do we say when someone is extremely confident? About such a person, it has often been said, they're walking tall. All right, 100. What do we say when someone is extremely irritated? What's the Americanism for that? If someone is extremely irritated, we'd say they're madder than a hornet's nest. Okay, amazing job. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Share this video with your friends. Share your score in the comments below, please. And check out these videos for more fun and excitement from quiz time. All right, enough of that. We'll catch you next time.